So this is where we encounter paradox, and that is that we can not really say 100% yes or 100% no. 100% it is this, or 100% it is that. There's always a blend, and there's always a point at which the two merge into each other. And of course, this is what the mystics have always said, is, that if we want to travel the cosmos, the universes, we need only go completely within. Now, why there's a distinction in terms of the four pillars is because there is a differentiation at a relative level between microcosm and macrocosm. So, as the human experience, there is the unique expression as a microcosm. It is a portal through which that macrocosm is manifesting or expressing itself. So, of course, inherent within that, we already hear it pointing to this merging factor, that inevitably we can't actually separate them out. Yet here we are, this play of creation that is one infinite field of the same being, the same stuff, that if we break it all down, fundamentally we get to quantum particles, and then we break that down and we move into a coalescent field of wave frequencies and coalescent light, and well, that's everything. Yet it also expresses distinction, differentiation, uniqueness. And so that distinction in the four pillars is relevant to our lived experience. So as the lived experience, this inner self points to not just pure consciousness, but this unique form of consciousness, soul. That this soul has a distinct pattern compared to that soul. Of course, if we go deeply enough into these souls, we can come to the same being, whether we call that God or source or creation. It's the same being. So if we use the analogy of the ocean, we get an understanding of the same thing, and that is, okay, so here we are, the infinite ocean, cosmos. That cosmos, the infinite ocean, already contains all elements, all the laws, the patterns of its creative forces are all encompassing, all there. And then if we look down into that ocean, we see, well, what comprises the ocean? It's drops and streams and currents and waves. And so we can look at, in terms of the human experience, the stream or the ocean currents being somewhat like the soul. So that soul stream travels through lifetime to lifetime. It's a broader, more lengthened stream in the scheme of time and place. That current rises to the surface and manifests as a wave, a distinct wave. The body-mind with this lifetime's distinct soul expression. So the peak of that wave appears separate and individual from the entire ocean, yet is not separate from the entire ocean, and therefore is not other than the entire ocean. So it's actually both things at the same time. So when we come to the four pillars, the reason this is so important at a practical level is for us to have a relationship that is responsible and that is in balance with microcosm and macrocosm. We are an instrument of creation, and therefore we are responsible for the energies that we take in and put out. And hence why we need that connection to our innermost source, because it is our direct radar to that great cosmic field or the infinite source as well. It also helps us to navigate our individual experience. It helps us stay awake to the cosmic laws and to see that they are the grand totality, far more supreme than this one individual. And yet this one individual is not lesser than either. Again, we keep coming around to this dichotomy, right? The paradox that when we use language, we divide out, we explain distinctions and differences. Yet when we dive into the essence of it, we go deeper in so-called explanation, and we come into the experience, we discover the merging of those. So at a practical level for the human experience, it reminds us to keep our eye on the bigger picture and to not lose sight of our own meekness. It also reminds us never to get too big for our boots, yet never, ever to deny our own power. So the balancing between power and humility, the balancing between the appearance of the individual and this distinct expression and the cosmos, this balance allows us to know our true purpose, to live authentically, to engage consciously and responsibly. So, for example, if we ignore the laws of science that give explanation to the vastness, the power of creation and its natural forces, if we lose sight of that, we tend to be so self-centered. I'm talking in general as the human species. We tend to be so self-centered and self-gratifying that we disregard those laws, and look what that results in. The climate crisis is an immediate example of this effect, which is quite strange because we have a great amount of scientific knowledge. We've also had a great amount of spiritual knowledge. And this is why I'm teaching the 4 pillars, because the thing that has happened is a division between them. And this is why I'm reminding you all it's about integration, and that as a spiritual practitioner, you cannot ignore or discard the importance and the relevance of the cosmic laws. You cannot discard the relevance and importance of nurturing and maintaining the power of your own unique soul expression, your part within the scheme of the cosmos. You cannot ignore the relationship of earth, creation, that you are a part of it, and every other living being, that we are in sacred kinship with everything. And when we have each of those pillars in our sight, in our awareness, and we are honouring those in our lived experience, we do have awakened integration. And the so-called realizations are then translated into our lived experience. And we're able to live sustainably, not just that, not just sustainably, but to thrive. And that's what our indigenous societies and cultures demonstrated for tens of thousands of years. And so the thing that's been missing in the world is that integration. It's been missing pretty well throughout all of the spiritual paths as well. We talk about embodying enlightenment, etc., but it's still, kind of wobbling along on one leg. And so these 4 pillars create that sturdy structure. It's the very thing that upholds the power of creation and our relationship, our human relationship with it.